Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It is Tech Talk time once again, which means we're going to continue with our little kind of moving around of good old Manor Lords and also talk about some War Thunder stuff as we do. I think in general it's been pretty fun, doing the Manor Lords things. And I think just kind of going forward, that's what we're going to do during the Tech Talk. If you don't know what the Tech Talk is, it is basically a weekly podcast we do for War Thunder. We started them again this year because we took a month off because it was more time just to kind of chill and then go from there. But yeah, so hopefully we have a pretty good time with it. I don't see why we wouldn't. The interesting thing about the Tech Talk stuff is now we're into like the news season. There's like a ton of stuff going on, so it's going to be interesting to try and like keep up and see what goes on. So looking forward to it as always, and just to kind of chat through and have a good time. It's going to be nice. So yeah, not too bad. Then afterwards, we'll be playing some War Thunder. The event is coming to the end. You know, the F5AG is nearly in everybody's hands, which is pretty cool. And also at the same time, they announced the next event, the Strasbourg. So I think that should be pretty fun for everybody. It's looking pretty good. Like, the Strasbourg is one of those which I feel like a lot of people have kind of wanted for a while, just because it's an easy way of getting into the highest echelons of War Thunder without really having to worry too much. And also at the same time, it's one of those things which really isn't, really isn't one of those which is, like it basically makes it easy for you to like get into the highest echelons of the game without really even trying, right? So that's kind of how it is. Hey, Diaboli, nice to see you. Yeah, no earthquakes today. Everything seems to have stopped shaking, which is always a very positive thing. Isn't very fun when everything is just going a bit nutso, like it was yesterday. But everything is good, so can't be mad at all with that. But yeah, so that's kind of the major thing that's been going on recently. Like we have, of course, all of the different stuff that has been happening. I think now we should be fine to go and just, kind of chill and enjoy some good old other games and War Thunder and stuff as we go forward. It'll be nice. Do you think the Gaijin market will actually revamp the packs? Don't think so. I'll be very surprised if they do. Most of them kind of just basically follow the same setup, right? Like, I don't think... I'd be very surprised if they do anything kind of weird with it or, move it around at any point. It's one of those things where, like, I don't see why they would. Like, it's the only... I don't see it going or being bad or anything, you know what I mean? Like, everything seems to be going pretty good with it. So I don't know why they would revamp anything. Seems to me that, they're happy with everything that's gone on, so... They're just adding more, or trying to add more and more stuff as they go along, but that's pretty standard for these types of things, right? I think they'll definitely do the Tiger Pack again. Like, I think that's more of like a given, Because it's just one of those where, I mean, it obviously worked, right? So, all right, let's get a big pasture here. There you go. So that'll be sheep. Then we can sell the wool, which is basically what we're going to do. But let's get into the questions of the Tech Talk, and let's see what's going to go on. Juan did the timestamps, which is incredibly kind of him. By the way, when it comes to the timestamps or when it comes to the comments and stuff, obviously we go through like the comments of the previous one. So if you are a person who talked, then, it goes there. But also, if you want something chatted about or if you want something gone through, that's basically the place to do it, right? So that's usually the best area to set it up. So thank you, Juan, as always, for the dev server. Oh, other things that happened this week. So we ended up doing a bunch of other stuff. Like we ended up having a bit of fun in the sun in terms of like we ended up doing a lot of what do you call it? We ended up doing a lot of Wano, and we also ended up playing a few other things. The plans kind of went a bit skew with this week because we had a bunch of other stuff that I had to do, and then it just got a little bit messy. So that's always something which you've got to be a little bit careful of. So yeah, it's one of those which I think in general was a bit rough, but at least we're back on track now. That's the main thing. So let's get to the first comment from the Organic Chemistry Junkie. The main motivation why I came up with the ideas on using convertible RP and enhancing premium talisman vehicles is to help address what you pointed out in a recent video, the fact that many machines need to be half or three-quarters spaded to actually be fun to use. Yeah, I get that. I think that's a fair cop, and it's definitely something I agree with. I think in general, when I think about these types of things, the one to actually why are you guys just like not doing anything? Do you need...
Is this smooth enough?
I don't know why, but they're just not building anything. The thing about that is I feel like the way that they should address it is they should just make the modifications less cumbersome, you know, so take away a lot of their usefulness in that way, and then I think it will generally have a better time, right? Like, at least that's the way that I see it, like whether that's true or not, you know. Why are these guys just not building anything? Like, I don't understand. Is it because there's not an ox or something? I put an ox into it. Weird. Do I have to build another one or something? But yeah, that's definitely the way that you like sorted it out could definitely work. Stop grinding is not fun to do most of the time, and giving flexible options to bypass it, besides paying ridiculously high prices per module, would also serve to encourage the average player play more than one or two trees, especially with more and more copy paste. It definitely could work. It also might not work, right? Because of the fact that a lot of these guys just don't really do too much. So we'll have to see what kind of goes on with it. Like, I think they should definitely make it easier for people to obviously get into other tech trees. I think that's super important, especially as we go forward when it comes to War Thunder. Because it's going to be one of those things where it's just going to get kind of worse and worse as everything goes along. Like, it's going to be such a pain in the ass. It's going to be such a pain in the ass in terms of how all this stuff is going to, like, kind of go. Because if you have, like, a setup where people really don't focus on other tech trees, then we're going to have to continuously have these conversations about, like, well, how do we make it so people actually want to, like, grind on the nations, but not just that, but at the same time, how do we actually make people, like, find enjoyment in the game? Because that's the other part of it that's, like, really, really important. Because if we don't get stuff like that going, then you've got a real problem on your hands, because of the simple fact that they're going to get bored and they're just going to move on, or they're going to keep wanting the new thing. And we already have so many of those types of people, and it's just something I just don't want to deal with anymore. But I agree, like, solutions do need to be thought about. I think the ones kind of proposed could definitely work. I think other ones could also work in their own way, which I think would be interesting to see. It's weird how long it's taking to do these things, but they'll get there, as they always do. We're transporting some wood around. So then we have the last red star. Hey tech, super happy these vids are back. They're honestly one of my favorite ways to interact. I'm requesting you to make these tech talks with any game you want in the background. I think, well, I mean, I want to kind of fill this whole map, so it's going to take a while to do that. So I think we'll be okay. But yeah, I enjoy doing them. I think they're fun. You know, it's one of those things which in general is super enjoyable, so why not kind of give it a go and have a bit of fun with it. Like, that's, to me, you know, doing like the podcast style or listening to kind of the podcast style, that was always something for me that I always enjoyed. So like seeing other people enjoy it is just really good in general for me. So I'm really happy with that. Do we just not have enough, like, do we just not have enough cows? Is that the issue? Maybe I don't have enough cows. Let's try and do that. So we put it more on automatic. But yeah, Mana Lords is like a super chill game that I don't really need to focus on it. So I think in general it's like perfect, right? As long as there isn't like a massive issue with like winds or anything going crazy. Wano needs so much brain power, I sweat trying to understand it. A lot of Wano straight up just like comes down to pretty simple things, like simple ideas as you push forward. So like a lot of it is just really like standard RTS warfare. So understanding that the enemy is going to attack in this area, you therefore have to either react to that attack or attack in a different area and then go from there, right? And a lot of Wano is line of sight. Like pretty much all of it is about line of sight. So if you are a person who is really focused on understanding the line of sight in that game, everything becomes super easy. And it's also another one where it's like you can try your best, but things will die. there's not a ton you're gonna be able to do about it, right? Like you are not always going to be, or not always going to be able to be the person who saves everything. So I think overall it's one of those which actually does work very well for that type of thing. And I think generally I've really enjoyed it. And we have so much more to play as well. This one the campaign we're doing now, the Airborne Assault, ugh, I was thinking about it yesterday. Since I don't know any of the reinforcements that are coming in, I have no idea like what's going to hit us in the face, like in the next period. So once like the forces mass and we know what's kind of going on, then maybe we can try and work out what to do. But until then, we're kind of in a rough place, which obviously isn't great. Nice to see you, Sneaky. Hopefully you're doing good. Wano would definitely not work for a tech talk because you need to think way too much for it. Wano would kill my brain while while doing the tech talk. Yeah, I don't think that would work for me really. Yeah, my brain doesn't run fast enough for stuff like that. It would at least be fun though, you know, to try it out. I've said on your stream already, but in March I'm getting my first PC. I'm curious as to what games you'd recommend for me. I'm interested in RTS games centered around World War II, but mostly open to mostly playing anything. Monologues looks like fun. I think I saw a Men of War game, but that's the only game I really know of. Mana Lords looks fun. Land of the Vikings is on my list as well. Baldur's Gate 2, any relating to those you'd recommend? So RPGs and RTSs, right? World War II focused? Yeah, sure. So the first one is Call to Arms, Gates of Hell. It's very similar to Men of War Assault Squad 2, but it's kind of, I suppose, the successor to it. Men of War 2 is also very good, but Men of War Assault Squad 2 is also one which is worth looking at, just as that kind of type of game. Land of the Vikings is also very good, but basically Call to Arms, Gates of Hell is Men of War on crack, and they've added a lot of different stuff to it, to make it very much like a kind of better experience in that way. So I would definitely say something like Call to Arms: Gates of Hell, Men of War 2, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the Men of Wars are good, but just understand the older you go in Men of War games, like I mean, like the earliest versions, like the original Men of War, even stuff like Soldiers, Heroes of World War II, stuff like Men of War Condemned Heroes, things like that. The mechanics get a little bit more weird and a little bit more don't work properly, is probably the way to put it. So I would definitely say that's something to watch out for, but not something to be afraid of. It's just the games become a little bit less intuitive, so you just have to understand what's going on. Yeah, stuff like Faces of War as well, Nick Blaster. Nice to see you. So that's like another one that is actually super fun. So those types of games, you know, they work really well. If you want something a bit more arcadey, Company of Heroes 1, 2, and 3, all of them are very good. All their DLCs are good. People don't like Company of Heroes 2 as much, but that's more from a historical standpoint, because they really did a very odd thing with the kind of Soviet campaign. They definitely had a bit of an issue when it came to kind of talking about all of the kind of like stuff that happened on the Russian front, in terms of just everybody just getting decked all the time and all of that stuff. There's a lot of Russians that weren't very happy with that, or Eastern Europeans as well. Blitzkrieg 3 is one of my personal favorites that I haven't really played on stream, but Blitzkrieg 3 is a massive kind of like campaign map. You have to think about your resources. You have to think about, you know, trying to bring everything kind of back and, you know, sort it all out properly. That is like super important in terms of like how all that stuff works. So I would definitely say Blitzkrieg 3 is worth having a look at, and obviously the old Blitzkrieg games, but once again, they are pretty old. In those terms, if you're looking for city builders, you know, obviously Manor City Skylines 1, not City Skylines 2, because it depends on what PC you have, but City Skylines 2 does not run very well. Let's put it like that for people. So you gotta be a bit careful about that, because it just doesn't run very well. Let's leave it at that. We don't have to like push it any other way. Then you have a lot of other kind of builder games. I should actually have a look at my Steam to see what's there, because I've been playing a lot of FPSs recently. The Sniper Elite games are really good, but obviously they're more like third-person FPSs, but they're really fun if you like kind of tactical combat. Warno, if you like more modern stuff. In terms of like RTSs, that has a lot of content in it. Then you have some other things. So, for example, Ground of Aces, which is like a World War II airfield builder, where you put everything together. Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks, where you run a tank factory. That's a game that we're going to be playing quite a lot of this year, because it's finally got to a point where I'm pretty happy with it. Empire of the Ants as well. Steel Division, which is kind of like the World War II Warno. Steel Division 2, which is, once again, a very kind of realistic RTS for World War II. Those, you know, work very well. The Stronghold games, you know, those work fantastically as well as kind of medieval versions of games like this. Just there's more combat involved, but you can do it. You can do it more chill if you want to. Age of Empires, of course, they've added a bunch of definitive editions. Just like you have Stronghold Definitive Edition and Stronghold Crusader Definitive Edition. All of those work just fantastically well as well. So those are things to kind of focus on. Then you have other games. Let's see. Ones that we've played more recently. I mean, the Stalker games are really good, but once again, they're FPSs. Then we have Oh, you have the Total War games, of course. All of the Total War games. They're not World War II. Most of them are based around historical areas. But if you're interested in Warhammer, you have Warhammer Total War. Total War games are very much just like PC games, so I would always say it's worth picking those up because you're not really gonna be able to get them anywhere else. So that's definitely something to look at if you're looking at um, PC games. Cataclysmo as well. Cataclysmo is a game we played. I think it's still in early access, so it's not finished yet. But Cataclysmo was a game which honestly was just wild in terms of like how it all worked. You can individually build each of the blocks that you use, and you can individually build your settlements as you go. And there's like a campaign to it. There's also a free build to it, which is really cool. So you can kind of do all of those things as well, and just kind of have a bit of fun with those. So that is something that can work really well. I would also say there's a few other stuff. This War of Mine is more of kind of like a. I suppose it's this War of Mine is a very good game, but it's also one which is a little bit sad. Is probably the way to put it. So you need to. It's more of a story-based World War II game. They Are Billions, which is kind of a zombie survival game with a huge campaign. The campaign itself for me took 80 hours, and I definitely could have played it on like higher difficulties, and it would have taken me twice as long. But that one is really cool, and once again, intricate. It's very much like a stop-start FPS, sorry, RTS. So you will have to, try and micromanage building and making sure that things are built properly. Otherwise, you're gonna have a rough time. So that's another one which I think in general is pretty good. I would also say Station to Station is quite a nice, relaxing game. Basically, it's a train game where it gives you a map and you have to efficiently be able to build all of the different tracks to different places and get the most points as possible. So that one has a really nice art style. It also has a really nice like music and theme and all of that stuff. So I would definitely say that's worth going for as well. That one to me is well worth it to have a bit of fun with. So I would go for that. And then also there are a few other areas too. Or a few other games. Starship Troopers Terran Command, if you're interested in RTSs, but also bug splatting, that one that one's really good. So well worth that. So I would definitely have a look at that one. That one is actually kind of different because it's more about managing waves. So each area of the map, there are caves where the aliens come out of, and the aliens reproduce in these caves. So what you have to do is you have to kind of deplete the cave and then take it out and then move on to the next one. But obviously you can have areas which have like 2, 3, or 4 or 5 different caves, and they're regenerating all the time. So what you actually have to do is you have to manage that. And I actually think that's really cool. In order, to sort it out. So that is something that can be quite hard to do, but also really fun. So I would highly recommend playing that because that can also be like super fun. The other one, which is also there's Airborne Kingdom and also Empires of the Undergrowth. If you like anti-RTSs, Empires of the Undergrowth is amazing. Airborne Kingdom, and they actually just made a new Airborne Kingdom as well, Airborne Empire. But Airborne Kingdom is a game where you build a city in the sky. So you have to manage not just like, proper, like, how do you set up your settlement? You also have to manage how the hell do I actually like keep this thing afloat and keep this thing in the air. And so you can't just like build everything on like one side, or you can't just like build everything on the front, because you have to think about balance and you have to think about lift. And that to me is so cool. And as I said, they just made a new one, so there's that as well. Those two which are sat there. Thank you for the raid, Alex. That's very kind of you. Hopefully you had a good stream. I'm just doing the tech talk right now. All of the Command and Conquer games, they actually go on sale. EA puts them on sale. So that could also be something that's worth having a look at. Yeah, just like the Command and Conquer games that are set up. Those also are pretty fun. United Penguin Kingdom is another game which is very similar to Manor Lords, apart from instead of dealing with people, you deal with penguins, and you have to keep yourself alive, dealing with killer whales and also with other stuff. So that can be something which can be pretty fun to do. Saboteur, of course, which is another EA game which is on Steam. That one is just a fantastic open world World War II saboteur, where you play as an Irish guy in Paris, and you are removing the influence of the Germans while you are preparing for the Allied forces to come in. Stuff like Subnautica. Subnautica is a first-person game. Look at this guy. Subnautica is a first-person game where basically what you do... This is their house. There's some internals modeled. You basically crash land on an alien planet, and instead of just going on the instead of going just on land, which is usual, Subnautica is actually under the water mostly. So instead of you going up like mountains, you're going into caves and into caverns and finding out the story there. And that's what makes it like super intriguing. So stuff like that is really cool to me. And they really subverted expectations with that one, which was really cool. And then also Aviators. Aviators is free. It's literally an hour and a half game. It was made by the Polish, and it's basically a kind of history lesson in what the Polish did in the Second World War and all the stuff that they did. So that's really cool. I think generally that's nice. But yeah, Blitzkrieg as well. Dungeons games, like the older Dungeons ones or the newer Dungeons ones. Those ones, you basically play as kind of the devil, but not really the devil. And what you have to do as the devil is you have to do simple things. You have to take over the overworld because that's what you're there for. So basically that's what you do. So you can definitely do that and have a bit of fun with that, which, you know, can work very well. And then what else is there? I mean, I feel like I've said quite a lot of them there, right? Like that's that's a bit of a ridiculous number of games. So that should be a good start. Also, if you are new to PC, one of the websites I would check out is Fanatical. Fanatical, and I think we might have a discount code. I don't know if we do or not. Fanatical always does massive bundles, so massive amounts of different games for sale, and they usually bundle them together. They do these big like prestige packs or like, you know, secret packs and stuff like that. And I'd highly recommend them. Like they're really, really good. So I think overall that is one of those which is super good to generally play and get involved with, so you can get like a bunch of that stuff sorted. I haven't done Wardle yet. We'll do it later. Yeah, Transport Fever 2. That's more of like the, I can't remember what it's called, but that's the plane one, right? Or not the plane one, but that's like the trains and the cars and stuff. Yeah, that one also would be pretty good. Okay, so that's that done. Can get some regional wealth there. So yeah, that would be a good start. It's like with, hopefully that helps. Lastly, I hope Gaijin has subtitles, translated or otherwise, for crew voices. I tell you what, that would be a good idea. Yeah, I would be yeah, because I mean, you do definitely get a distinct advantage if you hear what your crew is saying, because your crew straight up like says what is like happening, right? Like your crew straight up says, Tank. 11 o'clock. 1,000 meters. And if you don't have a proper rangefinder, you just straight up get an advantage from that. So I think subtitles wouldn't be a bad idea. I actually kind of like that idea. It would definitely help out a lot of peeps. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good to me. I'm very much in for that kind of setup. Neverwinter Nights is also a game series which is quite fun, which wouldn't be too bad to do. So we have Insane Robert. Hello, TEC. Hey up. Nice to see you. What is your opinion on adding additional flying Doritos, like the B2 Spirit or the Avro Vulcan, and then put them in a custom battle where you can get to upgrade to a bigger plane the longer you get ground stuff bombed? It's like a gun game, but for like bombers. Why is there just like a tree here? Somebody's just left a fallen tree here. I mean, the only issue with that is, would it just be like a PvE thing where you just like everything just gets bigger and goes around? I mean, they could definitely do that. Like, there's no problems with something like that. I just don't know how. I just don't know if people would find it that interesting after like doing it once or twice, which is like the major issue with those types of things. I will say with news that Gaijin is at least trying to find a way of getting done the with news of Gaijin trying to find a way of getting larger strategic bombers into the game. It does make me interested to see what's kind of gonna go along. Like I think it's actually gonna be pretty cool. So, like what they're gonna bring in. Hey, Lorico, nice to see you. But it's in the early stages of testing. The vehicles for me, I really enjoy. I'm a big fan. I think I personally really enjoy. Nice to see you, Dismantle. I really enjoy vehicles that are a little bit weird and also ones that you just don't see anywhere else. And those vehicles are exactly that. They're vehicles which you will never see anywhere else. And they really will be something that will be marvelous to see. The problem is, how the hell do you fit them in the game, right? And that's basically been the problem this kind of whole time. So, my general feeling about it is I hope that in the future, what will happen is they will bring them all in, but will bring them in controlled, and will understand that they don't really want to just kind of nuke the game with them because they just don't really fit. So I hope we see them. I just hope they don't come into the game the way that we have it right now. Because right now, the way that the game is, it doesn't make any sense, like how they would kind of turn up. So here's hoping that that it all goes well and all goes proper. Will it though, or won't it? That's the question, isn't it? That's that's the one which is pretty much impossible to know because of everything that's been going along. So here's hoping, as I said. We can only hope that that will be the case. I should just put another one here as well. Get some hitching posts going. Is it... You know what? Screw this. I'm trying to be too cutesy with it. Like... I do need the well. I'm trying to be too cutesy. We should put it more centrally, the trading post. Let other people come to us instead of we go to them. So... could put it right here, or we could put it... Actually, we could put it here. There you go. Right next to all of the oxen. But the one thing that also I always thought would be kind of a cool thing to do is if they ever decided, well, why don't we create like kind of an expansion of War Thunder, not like a different game or anything like that, but imagine they created something where it was like, hey, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to make a game that's gonna be, you know, maybe like a paid pack when it comes to War Thunder. And what it's going to do is it gives you a bunch of like single missions, maybe it gives you some historical missions, and also gives you access to like some vehicles that you can use in like custom battles and you can use in other areas. And I think in general that would actually be really cool, because it would mean that, you know, people would kind of get what they want, which is these vehicles, and Gaijin can continue to keep like building what they build and, you know, keep progressing forward. We talked about it heavily last year in terms of like how all this stuff works, whereas like War Thunder is going to just always expand. That's never going to stop. It's just going to keep going more and more and more and more. And because of that, we really are setting up in a way where you're going to consistently have more stuff happen, right? So with that said, there's no way that stuff like that doesn't come in. It just depends when it does, not if. And that is kind of like the most important part to me. And that's the bit that I find the most interesting. Like, I know in general, for a lot of people, they do worry about what is War Thunder going to do, like in the future. For me, I'm like not worried at all in terms of what War Thunder's going to do, because I have a lot of faith in the guys who run it. And they haven't ever kind of done anybody wrong so far, I feel like. I feel like in general, War Thunder's actually been doing incredibly well. So yeah, I'm not too worried at all in terms of that. Hopefully that type of thing can continue to prosper and everybody can be happy about what happens with it. So we have Maxwell. Hey TEC, glad to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, life's good. We're into the new update season. Of course, we had some of the leaks yesterday, and now we have some more leaks, which are coming or have already come in too. Those leaks, God man, like there's some weird vehicles in this update. There's just some weird stuff. I don't know how else to put it. We are living in interesting times when it comes to it. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's just very, very odd. So I'm hoping that as we kind of go forward, you know, we'll see more stuff and we'll see some kind of entertaining things with War Thunder, and then from there, maybe we'll see some other things going around. But yeah, this is the first period of like, you know, the five big periods of the year, and then we'll see what goes on from there. I got a 14 kill game with the 122 and 122B for Sweden today. I think that's the second most kills I've got in a match ever. It's pretty impressive. Those vehicles are really fun. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Like the ones that I really enjoyed, which were there, was the 122A when I spaded it. I think I still need to do the BE, so... But we'll get there. Slowly but surely. We'll get it going. These guys can't plant in the winter, I don't think. So we should probably switch them to building. These guys can still hunt in the winter, though. Hey, Abby, nice to see you. Yeah, we're on the last star for the event. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. It was quite fun. I think my most games was 18 for Russia like 3 to 4 years ago. I had a game in the Type 90 where everything just went well. And I don't know what happened, but we just went nuts. And was able to like get 15 kills in like a very, very small amount of time. So that was kind of my fun bit with it. I enjoyed that one. Alright. This logging camp has nearly done its job, which is good. Morning, Call One Cobb. Nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing good. The docket today is doing the tech talk and then just kind of getting the event done for War Thunder, which should be quite fun. Oh, is it, Teddy? We're going to have to watch it. I was watching the rugby this morning, but generally I watched like the first half and it was pretty grueling. It was good to watch. It was a good game. The other one was just like, I don't know, Ireland was just not doing anything, so it was a lot closer than it should have been. I'd like to say that I hate autocannon vehicles. I think they fundamentally break tank-to-tank combat. I think they should nerf them on an individual basis. Not all of them, but a lot of them. In this game, I don't see why vehicles like the BTR-80 or the BMP-3s should be better tank killers than tanks themselves. A lot of people complain about IFVs not having enough pen, but I honestly don't care. You have everything else. Why should an infantry fighting vehicle have an easy time killing tanks? Normal tanks already have a hard time fighting in their own game mode. Let's not make it worse. With the IFV stuff, it very much is like some of them feel really nice, and then other ones feel pretty crap. Like it's one of those where it's like up and down, at least for me. There are definitely ones which feel better than others, and then the other kind of setup for it is like anything with like a 25mm I kind of struggle with unless it's the rapid fire ones I use for multi-roll. And then if you have like 30mm, they're usually not great if they're the Bushmaster, but everything else seems to like work pretty well with them. So it really depends on which kind of vehicles you're like playing with it. And that to me is the issue, right? Like that's the one which is a little bit rough to kind of work out. Like which ones are good and which ones are bad. The major thing and the major issue I have with autocannon stuff, so SPAAs, I think they should lose the really high penning rounds. I think that's stupid that they get those. Apart from maybe the automatic, which is more of a multi-role vehicle. The ones that do my head in are the fact that they create a massive flash from the autocannon, so it's really hard to see what you're actually shooting at. And that one is really annoying to me. So I wish that would change. I do. Because it just does my head in, like, massively. I really don't like the fact that when I generally play against a lot of SPAAs, like either Gepards, or whether it is something like either a 2S38 or a BMP3 or whatever it is, like a Warrior or even like a Fox or a Bradley or stuff like that, what ends up happening is you always just get hammered by something really stupid. and then yeah, you just end up in like a really crap situation when you miss a shell, and then they just keep flashing you over and over and over and over again. And yeah, that idea does my head in the most. I really, really dislike it when that happens. Not a fan of that at all. So I get why you would find it annoying. I definitely do find it annoying too. And yeah, it's one of those which I hope that in the future they do at least something about, because it leads to just really crap situations which aren't really fun to deal with at all. But the main thing for me is the flash. And yeah, the barrel damage as well, like Teddy says. Like, getting hit once by like a Puma, or getting hit once by like a BMD or something, it always oranges your barrel or reds it, and then you're done. But also, as we said, you have one shot, one opportunity to be able to get it there. And if you don't get it there, then you're done. Like you die, right? And that's no fun. That's not what's enjoyable at all. So let's get some animals. Why not? I think in general, they did say that they were doing some changes to like the post-penetration effect of lower caliber guns. Because if you have a look at stuff like the Scimitar or the Fox, or you see it a lot with the BMP3, where the BMP3 pens you and it gets a massive cone, like a huge cone compared to pretty much everything else. So when I look at that, I think it's pretty obvious they're going to end up
Where's my other mallet?
they're going to end up doing stuff with that, right? Like they're going to sort that out. Because if they don't, like, it's going to be really annoying. Pretty much, Abby. You either hit... What? Connect the building to the King's Road. Oh, are you kidding me? Because it's not on this one? How do I know which is the King's Road? Built it in the wrong damn place. Allows the import traveling merchants on a regional. Is this the King's Road? It looks like the King's Road. So we'll find out, won't we? If it's the King's Road. Oh dear. But yeah, you usually have like one shot, and then if you miss, then bang, 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 bang. So yeah, I get the annoyance. They have said they're gonna do something. Whether it really depends on what they decide to do, right? So we'll see what goes on from there. I personally hope that that they do create something good with it. I hope they do, but we'll have to see once again, right? Because you never know what's going to happen here. I really need to have like a dedicated ox for this, but I don't have... I need to sell stuff in order to do it. But what we'll do is we'll do a permanent guy just to move. Because like there's logs here and he just needs to move it to here. Played a bit of the FGR1 for the South African decal today. Did they make that BR easier? What BR is it? Is it what, 12-0? I don't know what it is. The F4J I was playing was not too bad. Now that I have the missiles. Sucks in up tiers, but like, yeah, it's pretty standard. Wasn't too bad. I enjoyed playing it actually. It was quite fun using the semis. But yeah, so we'll have to see what goes on with the lower caliber post-penetration changes, and then from there, we'll kind of see what happens, right? That's the kind of main thing. So then we have C76 Caravan. Hi TEC, small misread regarding my question about the horrible auction. It was meant for you, meaning would there be a move from Gaijin where you would say, that's it, I'm out, because it's going too far even for you? Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah, I probably misread it. Well, I definitely did. I definitely have an issue with my eyes. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things, right? The major thing would be just straight up just lying to people about things. Like I know we talk about like the untruth stuff, but most of it is just like people screwing up like something very obvious, or you know, just screwing up just like the stupidest things. And it's normally not from like the actual management. It's usually the Chinese whispers issue, right? And also the different languages issue. So that to me is something that can be a problem. But the major one that I have is if they say they're not going to do something, and then they ended up just doing it, right? Like that would be a bit of the problem. The major one though would be removing stuff that people have ground out. That's always been kind of my like limit. So let's say they decided to remove the R2Y2, right? Which they have. But they also, at the same time, were like, you know what? We're going to remove it from people's accounts because we don't want anyone to have it. So if it ever got to that stage, that would mean that you can't trust anything on your account, right? Your account no longer kind of exists. Like there is already issues with the trust part of the account because of, all the different stuff that goes on. But yeah, that would be something that would be pretty rough in general. I would not be happy if they decided to do that. That would be the kind of breaking point for me. But there's a few other things too, but it mainly comes down to monetization, or mainly comes down to them actively going after people. Which, is always a bit of a worry when that stuff happens. Agree fully on having better rewards if using an aircraft in its intended role. Like the proposed link of reward to armament for multi-role aircraft, it would also enable another soft balance aspect. Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, and it really wouldn't make it really wouldn't like hurt many vehicles. It would just mean that people would have to actually try different things, right? and, and go ahead with those. And yeah, the GPU market is a shit show nowadays. And hopefully Intel will make enough progress to establish themselves in the dedicated GPU market. Are you following any tech YouTubers to stay up to speed with hardware? I follow a few of them, but mainly when it comes to, like, you've got like Linus Tech Tips, then you've got the dude with the long hair that I don't know his name. Then also Jerry Everything. I think he's actually really cool to listen to for not just like technology advice, but also just like building stuff advice. The major thing for me when it comes to GPU stuff is it just all just doesn't make sense. Like you know how we always talk about how like markets are supply and demand, which, obviously a lot of them are, and that's how it goes. I feel like it gets to a point where that doesn't matter as much when people get super comfortable with a product. So I'll give you an example, right? Steam. There was a massive article um, from Amazon Games, from the guy who like led it, and he was like talking about what it was like to kind of go after the monolith of Steam and try and take away some of their market kind of dominance. And of course, they just utterly failed. Amazon made a better product. They gave more stuff for free. they straight up did everything in their power. They sunk ridiculous amounts of money into it, trying to create a platform that people would want to use. And the pull of Steam, e.g., people having to move from Steam to a new platform, was too much for them to succeed at all. Which is why, like, they're basically just shutting down everything. Which is nuts. Like, when you actually think about it, it's absolutely crazy that is how that's gone. Because if you had like sat there for like for a while, and if you'd like basically just listened to the amount of like stuff that they'd put in to try and make it work, and they just couldn't. It's just crazy. It is actually insane to me that is the case. And it just makes me realize why it's so important to get in the door early, and also, well, of course, have a good product. But one of the main ones is to get in the door early. Like, you think about War Thunder, if you create a product which is supposed to rival War Thunder, right? You are not just rivaling War Thunder, you also have to, at the same time, somebody just needs to tap this with a hammer, please. You also need to you're not just fighting War Thunder, you're fighting the account that the person has created in War Thunder, which is very hard to do, right? So that is a problem at the end of the day. And that's what the Amazon guys found. And with GPUs, I think it's the same. Like for me, the AMD stuff that's around right now. Well, sorry, not the AMD. The Intel stuff that's around right now. And well, I suppose also the AMD. It's actually really cool and way cheaper than the Nvidia stuff, right? So from that point of view, from my point of view, it's great. It would be fantastic to actually to get, because I would save a lot of money, it would be more efficient, everything would be good. But I can't do that because there's so many things that are tied to Nvidia. The AV1 encoder, all of the Nvidia highlight stuff, not just for War Thunder but for other games. The fact that, you know, there are specific code, not codecs, but specific things like renderers which are designed to be better to use, and they're all Nvidia. And then obviously you have Ansel and then all of those things, and plus all of the other features that I use. So like it kind of sucks in a way, because you have all of these like cool things, and it's like, well, it would be nice to use them, and it would be nice to kind of go through and sort them out, but I can't at all because of all of this. So yeah, it sucks. And I wish it was a bit easier to move platform. I do. But unfortunately, that is not the case. The fact that with the GPU stuff, like the 5000 series, they announced that the 5000s, before they even came out, were going to be 25% more than they said it was going to be, was just like a kick in the face. But also the other part of it that made me super annoyed was the fact that they don't produce old setups. So like that's how they continue to screw up the supply line. Like they are fully in control of the supply line. What they could easily do is they could just manufacture a bunch of 4000s if they wanted to, or even 3000s, instead of having to like continuously replace them over and over again. But they choose not to, because of the fact that if they do that, it would mean that their other stuff is cheaper. And with graphics cards, there has been so much crap when it comes to why things happen, in terms of like how long it takes to build them, and how there's so many little ones, or there isn't enough of them around the place. And it's all just crap. All of it is crap. It is artificially limiting a supply so you can increase the price due to lack of competition. It's as simple as that, right? It's not that some random law has made things more expensive. It's not that there's a holiday in a certain part of the world, so therefore they're not manufacturing things. Like it's none of this stuff. And I'm so bored of having to kind of go through these things. Why are you not on the King's Road? Are you serious? Is this... There's a point here. Really? How are you not on the King's Road? Does it have to be this then? Oh my god, that's so annoying. I had it in the right place in the first place, but now it's just my merchant is gonna have to like go really far, which is just annoying, because I didn't build in a damn forest. If I put it there, it might be better, I suppose. But yeah, so it just kind of annoys me, like all that stuff, because it happens in like all the different businesses as well. It isn't just a graphics card thing, but people just say it only happens in the graphics card stuff, and it just pisses me off. So yeah, it's getting more and more to a point where a lot of these things just feel like scams, and I'm very much done with it at the moment. Like, just the amount of cost of things nowadays, just it's getting prohibitive for people, and it's really annoying. Not a fan of it at all. So we have Darks. Oh yeah, Manalord, such a great game. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it a lot. This playthrough is going to be much more like cinematic. You know, like we're gonna have a bit of fun, like building stuff properly. Usually, the last 2 times I've done it, obviously we've done like the guy off the map and we have to like fight him and stuff. But this time it's just going to be like a pure build, make things look nice, and then kind of go from there, right? Have a bit of fun in the good old sun. But yeah, if you like stuff like Mana Lords, highly recommend this game. Like, it's one of those that you'll have a really good time with at the end of the day. There we go. Just get a field down. Let me just relocate this over here. Build the other one. We live in a time when it comes to... We live in a time when it comes to PC gaming where there's so many really cool games out there. And there's just a million of them to play. So it's a fantastic time, if not a very busy time, because of, you know, all the stuff going on. Gotta be on your toes in terms of like dealing with everything. Late stage capitalism, to a point, Abby. It's I think the issue is governments giving up trying to actually enforce what would be classed as actual, you know, what's the word that I'm thinking of? Like them giving up actually enforcing monopolistic laws, you know, and just turning a blind eye to things. So then we have Dopus. Did you buy the battle pass while still saying it's just sad? Well, for me, when it comes to battle pass stuff, I'm gonna get it done anyway. So, and the G that I use is basically from Gaijin to put in stuff like that. So since I'm gonna be playing anyway, it just seems like one of those things to do anyway. Like, I know a lot of people see stuff like that as hypocritical or odd or weird or whatever. But for me, it's one of those where I'm using free money to be able to put into something, and I'm gonna be doing like playing the game anyway, doing like the stuff that you do from the battle pass. So it really doesn't affect anything that's going on for me. So if I was putting in my own money, which I'm not, but if I was, then I would definitely have not put in my money. But it isn't my money. So, yeah, that's the difference. I can't tell where. It's here, right? Yeah, it's because it's snow. It looks weird. Yeah, there we go. So we need water for the farms. But yeah, so it is sad, the battle pass. The last 2 battle passes have been incredibly boring. And it really does feel like we're getting to a point now with the battle passes where they're gonna have to either revamp the system or they're gonna change it up in a little bit. Or at least I hope they do, you know. I don't want there to be nothing for, you know, the game in that way. The battle pass is just a really cool system, and it just has not been showing its worth of late. That doesn't mean it won't in the future. There's always a chance it will in the future. But at least at the moment, it is definitely struggling. There we go. Wouldn't be mad if they skipped a battle pass with a promise they're working on a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, like maybe some new mechanics or something like that. like with it. There's plenty of stuff they could do with it. The major thing that needs changing is the Warbond shop. The Warbond shop is just sad. So like fix that and then you've got an interesting time, right? You've got a time where things can start grooving, start going. But until then, there's not a lot you can do. So then we have Snicker Pack. Nice. Nice. Jerry, we're so back. We are indeed back. Also, very important question. You listen to Limp Bizkit? I have in the past. Basically, when it comes to music, it's just kind of what I feel like at that time. So there isn't really like a genre that I'm tied to. Recently, I've been listening to a lot of disco music for some reason. But I've listened to a lot of rock, metal, punk, stuff like that in the past. Limp Bizkit's definitely in there. There's a bunch of bands from that era. Like you have obviously like Green Day, My Chemical Romance was kind of just after that area. Red Hot Chili Peppers were around there. Slipknot, of course. Disturbed. Then you have Enslaved. I Wrestled a Bear Once. Even stuff like Kaiser Chiefs. I've been listening to The Killers quite a lot recently, weirdly enough. But now, music for me is very much a feel thing. It's a thing where it's like, I feel like this, I want to listen to this. So if I want to jump around and dance about and do crazy stuff, that's what I do. And then if I want to do something else, then I do something else. It's kind of like that. There was even Theory of a Dead Man came on the other day when we were just like listening to music, and I actually decided for the first time ever to actually listen to the lyrics of Theory of a Dead Man. What a wild band that is. Like, Jesus. They have some very interesting stuff when it comes to their thoughts about many different things. So, well worth a listen if you haven't. So ridiculous. Dear. Right. Do I want to build it here or here? Probably here. Nice. I wouldn't be mad. Oh no, I already read that. But yeah, so music is a feel kind of thing, and then a lot of other stuff. It's kind of like when it comes to games and stuff, it's very much like a feel kind of thing too, or what I'm doing at the time. Like I've been doing a lot of racing games and also a lot of platformers, but that's just been like while working out, like doing stationary bike stuff or other things, and then also like with other games, I really like City Builders. Obviously, War Thunder is very fun. Like there's a lot of stuff to kind of enjoy and just have a nice time with. Like it really is a wonderful time to do some gaming. There's a lot of crazy stuff that you can end up doing. So to me, I really like it. Like I've been really enjoying all of the different things that have been going on over the time, and I'm glad that I have enough time to be able to enjoy them. I wouldn't like to live in a time where I'm not able to enjoy what I do in a big way, but luckily I can, so that to me is very important. I think that's the end of the Tech Talk questions. If anybody else has any for me or anything like that, then we could maybe go into them, but I think we'll probably switch over to War Thunder after doing all of this stuff. We need more ox. We don't have enough ox, and we don't have enough training posts as we go in Dornley. But we should be able to with the church and also with the clothing stuff get to level 2 next time. So I hope you guys have a very good week. I hope everything works very well, and you generally have a good time. It's one of those which I feel like in general should be an interesting period with War Thunder. You know, we'll probably get the teaser this week, and then we'll probably get, you know, the dev streams and the dev servers and all that stuff. So definitely things to look forward to as we go ahead. Anyway, look after yourselves. Peace be with you. See you next time.